Hello everybody, this is Jeff Twardowski with UB Successful. In this video, I will be showing you how to register users with a text file. We make several assumptions. First, you are the Domino Administrator for your environment. This includes having the HCL Administrator client on your workstation and access to the organizational certifiers. You will also need a spreadsheet application. Any spreadsheet you are familiar with will work. I will use Microsoft Excel in my example. One benefit of this process is by getting the new users' names electronically, we can manipulate the data, thus minimizing that we are the cause of a typo. I recommend putting in the time and effort to make the proper spreadsheet so you can use it over and over. This will make it easier to add users in the future. So how do we do that? Detailed instructions for creating a registered user from a text file can be found in the HCL Domino Administrator help. The only required fields are the last name and password. Everything else is optional. Passwords can be made consistent or changed with each individual. If a random password generator is being used, examine the results for offensive or inappropriate words. Remember that every user in your system must be unique. So let's get started. This is the order that all the fields must be in. Here's an example that says a bare minimum registration requires last name and password. This is what an input line looks like when you have all the other fields defined. Let's start up Notepad. Put all the names in the proper columns so they match the parameter list. Last name, first name, middle initial. Just follow the list. It's a relatively short list, so you can type it or you can manipulate the data in the proper format. I put an asterisk by the last name and password as a reminder of which fields are required. Save as a CSV file. Now start up your spreadsheet application. First thing we do is import the CSV file to become our column headers in the spreadsheet. If we are going to follow the minimalist example, we would type the new user's last name and password. Then we could export this as a CSV file to be used to register the new user. One thing I hated was having to rename someone minutes after we registered them because of a typo. To solve this, we can get an automated list from HR and massage the data as needed. This may not eliminate having to rename somebody after they are registered, so it should reduce the ones that are our fault. Here are the new users we want to register in our system. This list is in first name and last name order. So how do we process them into the correct order? Start up another spreadsheet window. Copy the list into the spreadsheet. Separate the users' names into individual text columns. This part will be dependent on your spreadsheet application. Select text to column. In our example, we can use the spaces as a separator. Your list may require using a different type of separator. Please note that some users will have spaces or other special characters in their names. You will have to fix those manually. Once we have the names separated into first name and last name columns, we can change the order by cutting and pasting the column to the proper position. Now we have the last name first and the first name last. Then copy these entries to our master page. And again, here's my list, last name, then first name. Remember that a password is also required. Since this is a test system, I picked the password to match the previous passwords. Make sure you pick something more appropriate. We have our password set. What other items do we want to set? We can set the variables in any of the other columns at this time. Or we can see how to set them up as a group during registration. Let's save our spreadsheet as a CSV file. Don't overwrite your heading spreadsheet so you can use it again in the future. Select Save. Let's look at the file we saved using Notepad. Here's our list of last names and first names. Our headers are here to allow us to follow the columns. However, we don't want the headers during the registration process. We delete the first line to remove the headers. Resave the CSV file. Let's take the CSV file over to our Notes Administrator client and see how registering new users from a text file works. Now that we are at our Notes Administrator client workstation, let's check the CSV file. Open the CSV file in Notepad. Notice that I had to change the usernames. I had already registered them in the Domino system. One last change we need to make is to replace all the commas with semicolons. Then resave the file. In our Notes Administrator client, select your registration server if it doesn't default to it. Select the People and Group tab. Select People in the Domino directory list. On the right side of the screen, select Tools, then People. That should get us to our registration button. Select Register. Type in your organizational unit password, then click OK. You should recognize the screen. We used it in our previous video to register new users. Select Import a text file.
Select the file we created for this exercise.
Select Open. You'll notice that our student list was imported. Student 1, Student 2, Student 3. The system also automatically created a short name for us. The registration process did not like our password. Our registration server was also automatically added. If this is incorrect, we can change it as part of the group processing. Let's go to the little window and select all the users so we can process them as a group. We can either click them individually or we can press Ctrl-A. Everything gets a check mark in front of it. Our password is insufficiently complex. My recommendation is to change the password so it is complex enough. I want all the passwords to stay the same, making future classes easier. Let's make the internet passwords match the Notes password. Select OK. Select the Advanced checkbox to see the advanced settings. We want our HCL Notes as our mail system. We could change our mail server for all the new users if this is incorrect. Which mail template do you want to use to create the mail files? Do we want the files created in the background? Do we need quotas set up? Are our new users allowed to get internet mail? If so, we can set the internet address here. I recommend that you leave the certificate expiration date set to 2 years. With the IDs located in the vault, the prompting of users to recertify should be a thing of the past. With the ID vault defined and an organizational policy defined for users, the system automatically finds the user IDs and places it in the vault. Do we need to assign these users to a group? If so, we can select a group to put everyone in, or we can leave the group assignment for later. Roaming required the roaming settings checked on the basic screen. Other tab, these can be changed in the address book later. Once we get everything exactly like we want, select the green check mark and notice that all the users are ready for registration. Let's make one more change. Let's give student 5 a first name. Make sure that all the check marks below have been removed by clicking on them. Select student 5, type in a first name, click the green check mark. Notice that it only changed the one user. Our 5 new users are ready to go. Make sure the green checkbox is not there. Select Register All. This may take a while. I will speed up the video. All 5 people have been registered successfully. We can look at our local notes log for details. Select OK. Select Done. Let's take a look at our notes log. While we can go to the upper left-hand corner and select File, Open HCL Notes Application, it is quicker to press Ctrl-O to get to the Open Application dialog box. Here's my log. We can select the log based on our username, or we can type log.nsf at the bottom. Select Open. Select Miscellaneous Events. Click on the plus signs to open all the categories in the view. Open the last document. It should be one of the last tasks that our Notes client performed. If the registration process had an error, this is where we would find the additional details about the error. Close your log, and let's look at the ID vault. The new users we registered have already been added to the vault. If you need assistance in setting up the ID vault, I put a link to my setup video in the video description below. Let's go back to the people view of the Domino directory. Here is one of the new users' person records. Notice no ID file. Let's look at a previously registered user. It has a user ID file in the person record. Anyone can right-click on the file, then save it to their local machine. If your organization uses the same password for all the IDs, they can become that user. Hence why we need to make a unique password and put the IDs into the ID vault, thus better securing our environment. I hope this helps you to register users in bulk by adding a spreadsheet to manipulate your data before running the registration. Please look at our other videos, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below.